Hello, everybody. You are now listening to the Overflow Podcast with Jae and Joaquin.
Mama said knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out in the Lord.
And that's the Overflow Podcast version of being slain in the spirit.
Of being slain in the spirit with a fist to the face.
With brother LL Cool J.
With a fist from the Holy Ghost. Yo, what up? What up, everybody? This is Joaquin.
And I'm Jay.
And we are coming to you from the new Batcave, new and improved.
Well, it's not improved yet because we still gotta
improve-ish.
We still gotta decorate.
New and improve-ish.
Gotta get that flag. The flag.
Yo, I got a huge Puerto Rico flag. We can also hang up.
Yo, word. We can do that.
We'll do that too, because we gotta rep the island that's about to get hit with a tropical storm.
And it's Hispanic Heritage Month, whatever the hell that means.
That's right. So when's Caribbean Heritage Month?
When is it Latino Heritage Month? Right? Because you could be Latino and Hispanic. Or Latino or Hispanic.
Right.
Right? So
you can only, it's all confusing. All I'm saying is I told somebody today that I'm no longer Latino or Hispanic. I'm Caribbean. And he looked at me like confused. What?
Of course.
Think about it.
Of course. It's funny porque I like to say in Spanish mainly, I say Caribeño.
Right.
Yeah, when I'm speaking about all of us,
right,
I say Caribeño, I say Caribbean. Because if I say Caribbean in English, we all know that Caribbean in English means Jamaican.
Right.
Right? Like Americans or...
That's the immediate thought.
Yeah,
right.
It's the immediate thought. Oh, Caribbean market. Oh, it's Jamaican store.
Jamaican.
Right? Caribbean food. Oh, Jamaican food.
Jamaicans don't help us with that, though, because anytime we see a Caribbean store, it is Jamaican.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
We've been suckered a couple of times. Oh, look at Caribbean. Walk in, it's like, wait a minute.
Hey, what? Wait, I thought this said Caribbean store. All right, let me get a beef patty and cocoa bread.
It is Caribbean. No, you know what we mean. Yeah, you got it. I'll take some of your version of
cola champagne. I'll take a beef patty and some peanut punch.
I'll take a beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese.
You stupid.
That's what I'm saying. But
anyway. So it's that disparity that people just don't know about.
So we do want to drop this disclaimer right at the beginning. We are working with new equipment.
Word.
So be generous with us.
Get generous. Celebrate. We're in a new spot. We got new equipment. We good.
As generous as you could be as we figure this out, and hopefully things will sound better, and but it'll still be us off the cuff. Nothing changes as far as how we do things.
Nothing changes as far as how offensive we'll be.
And disorganized, but hopefully it will sound better. We're working on with this new setup. We'll be able to start
recording video,
and hopefully we'll be able to figure out how to record live,
right,
straight to the YouTubes,
and
so
we'll be able to
so you can watch us live when we record.
And we'll also be able to invite people to come in,
right, and give them an
interview or just have them join the account. Well, not interview because we don't really do interviews. We
do sometimes.
No, but not really. Like we always try to start with interviews.
It depends,
and then we just invite them to the conversation, right? So
depends how much you annoy me, really.
I don't like interviews. I'd rather just have them join what we're talking nonsense about.
So we're looking to be able to record live onto YouTube.
As soon as YouTube allows us.
As soon as we kind of figure that out. They
changed the permissions.
Yeah, and like Jay was saying, we'll have we'll be able to. We're actually gonna have a spot that's not like my house or Jay's house, to be able to give someone an address to come and to join us and to sit with us. And we'll actually have room so that if we have, more than 3 people, we'll be able to have an area to go and to kind of sit around a table. And so it's really exciting. We're really excited about this.
Got to put the Keurig in the corner. Right? Because we all
about
man.
I got that electric.
That's right. You got the electric greca, but you got to keep doing it if we have like 4 people here.
Oh, well, no, we got in the kitchen, we got the big one for the 4 people. We got the greca for us.
That's true.
So I'll bring it for next. I even got the little cups for Cuban coffee. But anyway, we're super excited because today is today's the second time we're recording here, but it's the first where we're actually using the new equipment. So
word.
Super excited about that. And then we're working on our other stuff, so make sure you keep an ear out.
All right, so check this out. I'm gonna do something that I would never do. All right, so I want to design an Overflow podcast flag to put up on the wall
next to the Puerto Rican flag.
Next to the Puerto Rican flag, right? Put it up back here so that we're live on YouTube. Then we can have the branding, right?
I mean, yeah, the branding.
But that joint costs $80 to print.
$80.
So if you love us and you're excited for our growth, right?
And you would like to volunteer.
And you want to be a part of that growth, because there are a lot of things that we haven't announced and we, that we're doing, things that are moving forward, right? To celebrate this growth.
Yes.
Right? Hey.
Not the cancerous kind.
If you want to, well, it depends on your perspective. Depends on who you ask. But anyway, if you want to be a part of the Overflow podcast and donate the $80 it'll take us to get that flag printed, and like a real flag.
Donate the $40. We'll take. You know what? I'm like our Spanish Alfredo. Like our Spanish butler, our Puerto Rican butler.
He didn't even show up today.
Alfredo would say, mira, si quieres dar una ofrendita.
Hey, you want to give a small offering?
Ahí está el I lost the word. The envelope.
Oh, el sobre.
Ahí está el sobre para la ofrendita.
Aquí está el sobre para la ofrendita. No tiene que ser los 80 de un cantazo.
No ofendita. Ofrendita.
Puede dar 20 pesos, 20 hoy.
Mira.
Se lo diga a tu novia, a tu madre.
I'm about to get, ready? Listen, if you sow that $80 seed, we will be very thankful. And God might bless you. I'm not going to say he will.
Right.
But he might.
But if you touch if you touch your headphone or your speaker, wherever you're listening to us on, if you touch it with faith and agreement, a touch of agreement, and you sow that seed, then something might happen.
Yeah,
we might be able to get the flag.
Yeah, you can send that money through Facebook. That's all I'm saying. You can send it through Facebook.
Word.
But so we're super excited about that.
We are horrible people.
Yo. So anyway, sorry for that bad theology. Or was it? Or am I? But a lot of stuff has been going on.
But I promise, we will not get a Rolls Royce or a jet.
No.
With that money, we will get the flag.
Yes, I will buy my own Rolls Royce.
And we'll take a picture. We'll tag you on it on all social media, giving you thanks.
Yes, we'll give you thanks. And when you get to heaven, this is what you're going to hear. Thank you for giving to the Lord. The Overflow Podcast, guys.
Ay, bendito. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's exactly what you'll hear.
That's
what you'll hear.
Thank you.
You'll hear Peter at the gate, arms raised, holding the flag. Thank you for giving to the boys.
By giving to the Overflow Podcast kids. Or like the guy at work keeps calling us the Bodega Boys. Like we can't be those guys. Name taken.
And we're not as
New York.
No, I mean
even though most people would think we're pretty New York.
Yeah, we're not.
But we're not that New York.
We're not as filthy.
No.
As far as language, anyway.
As far as language is not. As long as language, yes, correct. So anywho, I never said I could speak. I speak of the English.
Yo, have the cops called you yet?
For?
You ain't hear what 6ix9ine said about you? He was like, yo, Joaquin be saying that he sound like he from Brooklyn, but he not from Brooklyn. He lying.
He lying. How hilarious would that be?
So, Joaquin for the Overflow Podcast always say that he sound like he from Brooklyn, but he not from Brooklyn. He lying.
He's never been to Brooklyn. I've driven through Brooklyn. No, I've been to Brooklyn. I went to Coney Island. Yo, what about that? So let's go ahead and just start off with that.
I mean, I figured I'd keep the last going.
Yo, 6ix9ine. So for those of you that don't know, maybe there's a do know. You know, so this is rapper by the name of 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Right.
And he's from New York.
Is he?
Yeah, he's from New York.
I thought it was from Cali.
No. He's from New York. And he's Mexican. He's a Mexican from New York.
Wow.
And because of his rap style,
right,
it's not what you would consider New York.
Right. That's why I thought he was like West Coast.
But no, he's in New York, and I mean that's why he was snitching on Jim Jones and Cardi B because that Blood gang was from New York.
Okay.
The Hyde Park or something like that. The Hillbilly gang. I don't know what they were called. Yeah, come at me, bro. Don't tase me though. So it's come out over this last week that so the dude got arrested, like attempted murder, drug charges, all this stuff, and then it comes out like last week that this dude was name dropping everybody.
He went from a rapper to a singer.
Like he went tra la 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 la.
Yo, I mean look, the best. So I will take a screenshot and post it on our IG page, right? Because that Boss Logic image.
Yes.
Lilo and Snitch. For me, I mean, we've seen a lot, right? There's been a lot of stuff thrown out there.
Yes.
But that Lilo and Snitch, that
was great.
That killed it. Like I was done.
Yeah. So this kid, you know, it's funny though, right? Because he's been snitching on everybody. And so, you know, the memes have been out there, like, you know, the Last Supper, and Jesus said, one of you will betray me. Somebody put him on the table.
They put him in there as Judas. Okay, that one too. That one was hilarious.
So, but you know what's funny? You know what? I had a thought the other day though, as I'm watching this on the news.
Ruh-roh.
I'm like, all right. So this dude is getting a good deal. That's why he's snitching. Right?
Yo, he's getting a great deal.
I mean, people won't talk about him, but all these dudes that are in love with like the gangsters, the Godfather type stuff, the gangsters. Why do you think a lot of those guys ended up in jail? Because somebody said, "Oh, you're gonna make me disappear."
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I'm gonna tell you everything you want to know.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And you know what? Listen, I'm sure a couple of nights. I'm sure he was in Rikers to begin with, maybe.
I had no idea.
So listen.
Because there are so many like private jails in New York that you don't even know about.
I bet you they didn't have him in a.
Oh, if he's singing like that, yeah.
Oh, now he is. No, I'm saying though, when he first got arrested.
No, I'm saying.
You know,
I'm saying Rikers. I've been to Rikers. If he's singing like that, he went to Rikers.
Okay, right. So I'm saying, in my mind, I mean, I don't know, but in my mind, I'm like, yo, they put him in Rikers. He was there for a week.
He was there with real gangsters.
He was there for a week, and then when he came out, when the DA came out, the first words were, "Get me into protective custody. I will let you know what you want."
I will name names.
The DA didn't even have to
not artist names, not hip hop names, government. I will name government names.
Yeah, I will call people out. I will just start naming names. So then I thought to myself, all right.
Not Cardi B. I'm talking about what was her name? Ibelka, whatever.
You know, Mallorca,
who knows?
Whatever.
Mallorca.
Hey, did you know Cardi B got a sister who's a trainer, who's into exercise, is an exercise trainer?
What is her name?
Cardio. I've been holding on to that one.
You're so stupid. Yo, I can't believe that. I can't believe I fell for that.
That's cardio. If you're watching the video, if you ever see the video, I'm fatting myself like an old.
Yo, Fran Drescher is talking about Cardi B playing the nanny in a reboot.
I can see that though.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I can see that. Anyway, so I was saying. Before I got distracted, I was thinking
You're
about
so stupid for that one.
I was thinking about
Belcalis Marlenis Almanzar.
Yeah, that's a real Dominican name.
Diablo, that's Dominican as heck.
My Dominican brothers and sisters, that's a real Dominican name. I was thinking to myself, you know how when they put people in protective.
That's got plátano all over it.
Yes, it does.
Sorry.
That's a mango name right there.
Yo.
So anyway, I gotta get this started because
salami,
it's funny.
queso,
Salami.
that's everything. That's the whole mango.
That's mango con huevo frito.
Oh my God! All right, go ahead.
No,
I want some mango.
I know, right? My thinking was, yo, like, how do you put him in witness protection with all them tattoos on his face?
Yo, you gotta have a tattoo artist.
Like, you have to
close the 9, and then like, yo, are you Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Like,
and he's like, no, I'm Tekashi 6'8".
Actually, close the 6.
That's my brother.
Close the 6, and then be like, I'm Tekashi 88. I'm Tommy 88.
It's like, no, I'm Daniel.
He uses his Mexican 88. Name. I'm Luis 88. I'm Luis 88.
I'm Luis 88. I don't do hip hop. I do norteños.
All of a sudden he picks up the accent. He starts speaking like a New Yorker. He's like, no, I don't know what they're talking about. Real Speedy Gonzalez.
Oh man, you see, we can do those jokes because we're Latinos. Or Hispanics. Or both.
Or both.
Or Caribbeans.
What you know now? So anyway, yeah. So hey, my peoples.
Cardio.
Jay's stuck on that joke. He's gonna use it tomorrow.
I'm gonna use it at work tomorrow.
He's gonna go to work tomorrow. He's gonna be like, hey guys, did y'all know Cardi B got a sister who's a personal trainer? Really? What's her name? Cardio.
She got a twin sister. Cardi B, Cardio. Yo, but
that's a good one.
You probably don't know this, but when we first started City Takers with Scott Free,
right?
Somebody, I remember, man, because I had to like walk away, and Scott like turned around and grabbed me, and like turned me around so I could walk away because somebody was saying, hey, I heard somebody like calling out for Jose, and I was like, hey, did you find Jose yet? Because I got Hose B. See, I can laugh at it now, right? But back then, I kind of got pissed.
That's funny.
And Scott grabbed me. I was like, hey, Jay, can you go get this stuff for the back? Oh, my goodness. That's what that reminds me of. Some people are racist and they don't even know it.
It's like, if a firefighter can't use hose A, what does he use? Hose B. That's good. You like that, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Yeah. All my firefighter brothers out there, they liked it. They're gonna be like, we're gonna use it. But yeah, so yo, everybody keep your head down. Tekashi might be throwing your name out.
Yeah. You ain't from Brooklyn, son.
Y'all don't know.
He told everybody you ain't from Brooklyn.
You ain't know where I'm from.
You don't even know why he talk like that.
I keep getting asked. No one's ever pinpointed me to a borough. That makes me a little sad. That's okay. Speaking of boroughs, have you been watching the Wu-Tang American Saga?
I have not.
It's pretty good.
I have to tell you, right?
It's pretty good.
It took me.
Speaking of New York,
it took me a couple days to finish the first episode. So I just stopped.
Yeah,
I just stopped trying.
It's hard to watch it. It's hard to watch it at work as a kind of just something to play in the background. It's pretty good, man, and obviously the soundtrack is killer.
Yeah,
but it's pretty good.
Since it took me so long to watch the first episode,
Did you watch it at home or were you trying to watch it at work?
No, I was trying to watch it at home. Like I put it on first at work, and I was like, nah, I want to be able to watch this.
Yeah, the thing is, you got to watch it at night when the kids are in bed.
No, I was bored.
No, you didn't really.
Yeah, I was bored.
I think it's picked up.
And I think it could probably be because, like, because
you don't like Staten Island.
I see the Wu-Tang story and all the violence and all that stuff, and like I grew up in the same thing. That was in Staten Island. For me, it was in Far Rockaway. So right. It's like
they became world-renowned famous rappers. I
do a podcast with you, who 6ix9ine already snitched on, not being from Brooklyn.
Yeah, you do a podcast with a fake Brooklynite.
But it's like the Chai or the Shy.
I never watched that one.
Right. a lot of people like Sharon was like, oh, you gotta watch The Chi. So I'm like, all right, bet. So many people, all right, I'll watch. And I couldn't
get into it.
I couldn't. Well, and it was for the same reason. Like I would watch a lot of it. I'm like, yo, that's how I grew up. And then it's funny, right? Because I told Juice, it's like, yo, you need to watch The Chi, man. It's dope. Right? And then he's, yo, why you got me watching that crap, man? Yo, I live that. I don't need to watch that.
Right.
So, because I told him that, I told him to watch it, and I told him that to see if it was just me.
I know, for me, it's not so much, what I like about the Wu-Tang show is because it's not about, for me, as I'm watching it, it's not so much about where they grew up, but it's about how they were all so interconnected before they even joined. You know, Raekwon,
right.
Raekwon and Ghostface were part of two different cliques. And like Ghostface wanted to kill Raekwon at one point. And it's just seeing that kind of but then you see that but right? Like, man, these dudes put out probably one of the top 10 hip hop albums ever, right? That they did together. And it's and then you're like, but then when you're watching this, you're like, wow, these dudes like really hated each other. Right? So to me, that's what's fascinating. Not so much, okay, we get it. Yeah, it was drugs and violence. But it's in the midst of that drugs and violence, how these kids love hip hop and how they just kind of end up coming together. And the end of the story is that, one of the biggest hip hop groups ever. Yeah. That's to me is what makes it interesting is seeing RZA, his character, and how he's always looking how to make this music thing happen so he doesn't have to sell the drugs, so he doesn't have to do this other stuff. So that's for me. So speaking of Wu-Tang, you caught up on Titans?
Perfect segue.
Speaking of hip hop groups.
Of course, but this time I watched it right on Friday.
You watched it right on Friday?
Mm-hmm. Instead of like waiting a couple days later, waiting for Magda.
Oh, okay. You told Magda, forget you, girl.
No, it's silly. No, because I work from home, and since Bean was sick, she worked a half day on Friday.
Oh, okay.
And she came home to watch Bean so I can work. And
you're able to watch it
during Bean's nap time. It's so funny because it wasn't even me. I'm there. I'm trying to work and whatever. And she came downstairs after putting Bean to sleep. And she's like, "All right, throw on Titans. Let's take advantage that he's sleeping and throw on Titans." Like, oh, great idea. I'm on lunch.
My dad's like, "Papi, what you doing?" "I'm working, babe." "Throw on Titans." "Oh, okay."
Just leave it like a fight. I typed in the work message board at lunch.
Yo, so what you think of the episode?
It was bad.
That was dope, right? So I'm thinking more and more that the rumor that I read that Shot kills Aqualad is what's the ghost. It's what ends up tearing them apart.
You think that's what it is?
I mean,
it's not that Aqualad comes back. Because the intro of Aqualad will be next week's.
Correct.
Well,
I'm thinking
this week's.
But I'm thinking it'll be in a flashback.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, just based on. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that makes sense, right?
No, because they already mentioned that Ravage already mentioned that Deadshot killed a brother.
Deadshot?
I mean, sorry.
I didn't know Will Smith was in the movie.
That Destro killed her brother
a few months ago.
Oh, she said a few months ago.
Yeah, it was a few months back. That. Yeah, so that was another that maybe it was Ravager, but
it was Jericho.
Or Jericho, but I don't.
Because Jericho was also a Titan, like in the comic books.
At some point, right? I mean, it could be that could be it, but it just felt like the Titans had been broken up for longer than a few months. The way they talk. I could be wrong, but I could have sworn that they said Jericho was killed.
No, I think Dick said that it was 4 years.
Okay, so that means that if I could have sworn it was Ravager, she was like he killed him a few months back.
I'm gonna have to.
A few months.
I'm gonna have to
fast
rewatch.
Forward to that scene. Yeah.
Rewatch why I'm gonna watch the whole thing again.
But that's why I think it's Aqualad.
I'm gonna have to watch it again because when she said that,
because
I was like, so he killed Jericho.
Because if Aqualad was part of the team, how come they haven't reached out to him?
True.
Right, especially when Light went after them. How come they haven't said we need to reach out to Aqualad? Light is back.
Because like they didn't need light. I mean, they didn't need Aqualad. They need no water, man. There was no dolphin. There was no dolphin in danger.
You throw water on light, electricity, and it's short circuits. It's science.
There was no dolphin in danger. They didn't need Aqualad.
Wow.
Yeah, why didn't they call Roy Harper? If Roy kept calling Donna, right? Why didn't they call Roy?
But maybe Roy wasn't. I don't think Roy was a Titan.
Yeah, he was.
No, not in this iteration.
Maybe not.
Because remember when they did that flashback, they only showed Dove, Hawk, Wonder Girl, and
Aqualad.
No, I don't think they showed Aqualad. They showed it was Dick, Robin.
They showed Aqualad.
All right, I'm gonna take your word for it. Even
wait. In which one? And when they got to Titan's Tower?
Yeah.
Okay, no.
Yeah, they only showed them 4. So I don't think
showed the 4.
I don't think Roy is.
Yo, I read a rumor.
Part of it.
I read a rumor that Kid Flash is gonna show up this season.
I read that too. So we'll see. So I'm excited for this week's set. So anyway,
Titans was dope. And we saw pictures of Dick in the Nightwing
costume. So I'm hoping.
Sean.
So it's got to be, if not this episode, it's got to be next episode.
Well, maybe not, right? Because the video and the pictures showed Superboy there, and Ravager in costume.
Yeah.
So it might be a couple episodes away.
Yeah, as they try to get everybody together.
Because they haven't even introduced Superboy yet.
Yo, but Jason Todd is not waiting for Joker to kill him.
Yeah, I think Hawk is gonna kill Jason Todd.
Hawk is gonna murk him, or Hawk or Raven.
I think Hawk is gonna kill Jason Todd because like he's tired of his crap.
But speaking of Superboy, so it has been confirmed that Tom Welling.
Oh, word!
Is going to be in the DC
word and the Crisis
crossover for CW. Not just him, but the girl that played Lois Lane.
Yeah.
So
what we've read so far is that he's going to come back as Clark Kent. Right? That no one's sure. No one said anything about him being in the suit. Right. So.
Right. Which I would hope that he would go, you know what? I know I did this show for 10 years and it's got a huge following.
And I was only in a suit for one episode.
And not even then, right? Because then they just show him rip his shirt open
and fly off.
So
I know because I never saw the 10th season because I stopped watching. I think after the 4th season,
right?
Because it was just too much of a novela for me. But
right.
I saw that they have it on Hulu. So I watched the 10th season at work on Hulu.
You watched all 10?
I watched just the 10th season, the last season, just to see him get into the place where he puts on the costume.
Right. So I would hope that he would go you know what? Let's give the fans that fan service. Right.
I would hope so too. And I hope that it's that they're not just sharing too much. Right. They want to keep a few secrets.
But honestly though, I'm excited. I'm excited for the Kingdom Come. I'm excited for Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come Superman.
Oh my God, I am dying to see.
That is gonna be
that's my favorite Superman shield. That's my favorite one.
Right.
So I'm dying to see that. That'll come to life.
And because say what you will about the unevenness of some of the seasons with some of with Arrow or whatever, but they've been pretty on point. With
their crossover episodes?
In the costumes.
Yeah, the costumes have been dope. Even the Ray, right? When they had the last season's crossover episode.
Right.
Except, I'm not a big fan of the Batwoman costume, I gotta say. But
it's very comic book.
But it's exactly like the comic book Batwoman costume.
Yeah, so they've been really on point with giving us really good.
That I'm not a fan of the comic book Batwoman costume either.
Yeah.
Yo, I also read somewhere that the Batman Beyond costume appears in the crossover. Not so much Batman in the costume, but they show the costume.
I know what it is. I'm marking it right here. I'm speaking it right here. Kevin Conroy is appearing in the crossover.
That's right, as Bruce
Wayne. And we all know he is the voice of Batman in the animated series and in Batman Beyond. So what if you make him Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne, you kind of show him in the Batcave, the costume's right there.
Word.
Like, that's all you would need.
Word. Hey, that's all you need.
Right? And maybe have him name drop, Terry, come to the Batcave.
Yo.
And then all of a sudden, whoosh, whoa, who are you? Like that.
They don't even have to show Terry. Just him.
No, just him calling.
Just him, name dropping.
Like,
right?
Terry, I need you in the Batcave.
It'll be the Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne and the Kingdom Come Superman.
Yo, how dope would it be if, yeah. That would be dope.
That'd be ill.
I just think even with the where you hear like, cause Batman always seems to kind of know. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden he goes, Terry, come to the Batcave. We got visitors. And all of a sudden, whoa, what do you want? Because he's in the future,
right? So
he would know about these guys.
Yeah,
that would be dope.
Yo,
I'm so excited.
I just gotta say, like, whatever it is, I'm here for it.
Yeah, we're gonna
right because I'm not even gonna front like the Crisis storyline.
Right.
The Crisis storyline is what made me like fall in love with all things DC. Because before I would read everything. Right? I'd read X-Men, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Justice League, whatever. I would read it all. Right? But when the Crisis series came out, it was like a reboot.
Right.
And then it was George Perez, so he was a reboot too. That's when I fell in love with all things DC.
So I got a feeling that
that's right. Tyler Hoechlin's coming back as Superman too.
Yeah, he's coming back. Yeah. So I got a feeling we're gonna have to just let them all play out, and then I'm just gonna come over to the house. We'll get a Lepardo's pie, and then we're just gonna sit down and watch them.
I just want you to know we can do that, but I'm gonna be watching them day by day because I'm not gonna be able to hold off.
Not me. I like especially the crossovers.
Yeah. I know you like to sit and binge.
I like to sit and just watch them. Boom, 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 boom. And since, or at least so like if it's 2 on Tuesday, I'll watch both of them back to back on Wednesday. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So.
But the thing with the Crisis crossover. How many shows is it gonna be? Right, because it's like Batwoman, Supergirl, The Flash,
so it's all the
Arrow.
It's all the Arrowverse shows. Plus, they're bringing in Black Lightning.
And they're bringing in Black Lightning and Legends, right? Because that's a lot of shows.
And then rumor is they're somehow gonna tie in the DCEU.
Whoa, wait, what?
So yeah, like might be like a flash, like a montage or something. Like, like if
the multiverse.
Yeah, like if he's flying through the multiverse with the monitor, right? And all of a sudden you see an Earth with, the DCEU characters.
Yeah, because they're bringing back Jay Garrick Flash from the 80s.
Right.
And Jay Garrick Flash, like the original Flash with the 10-pound head.
Yeah, so it's, we're excited. All right, that's enough. That's enough of that because...
Yeah, we can go. The whole show will be about that.
Hey, guys, a couple of weeks for those of you that care like me and Jay, don't forget the Joker is coming out, and everyone's been big up in it.
Yo.
So we got that
I
now.
can't wait.
Yeah, I'm super hyped for that. So with all of that, and there was one more thing I think. Oh, so we're gonna do it this way. Bookend it with this announcement. Don't forget next week on the 30th.
Boom, boom, boom.
At the
Ice Kitchen.
I was about to say at the Lighthouse. At the Ice Kitchen.
Legacy Nights.
Legacy Nights. Doors open at 7:30.
Yeah.
Show begins at 8.
Yeah.
It's free. Come see Uzuhan. You will not be disappointed if you're in the Atlanta area. You get good coffee, and you get to see a really dope rapper. And even if you're like, but rap's not really my thing, you'll enjoy him.
Yeah, just a really dope artist, right?
Because he's not. I might get myself in trouble for saying this, but he's not what you would think as far as rap. Like he's just got a very soulful style.
Yeah, he blends hip hop, soul, R&B, jazz, right? Very, it's and his live shows
and his performances is
his
excellent.
Live shows are amazing.
So speaking of performances being excellent, and we're gonna kind of just drop this and then keep it moving. But rumor is that they are looking at what's his name? Oh man, I forgot his name. Jonah Hill for a secret, quote unquote secret. Me and Jay believe the Penguin role for the Batman, and it looks
Jeffrey Wright.
And it looks like they're casting. And the rumor is that Jeffrey Wright.
No. That was a confirmation.
That was confirmed. And Jeffrey Wright has been cast as Commissioner Gordon. Now, Jeffrey Wright, is he a black or is he Latino black?
He's black.
He's black.
Yeah, he's black.
But
even though he did a great Peoples in Shaft.
Yeah,
in the original Shaft.
That's right. So
he was perfect.
So so this is one of those situations where they're changing the color of the character. Or the race. The color. Because I'm thinking comic books. I'm thinking color. They're changing the race of the character from white to black. However, me and Jay usually have issues with that. But this dude's such a good actor.
If it's done for like no reason.
Right. If it's done for woke points, just to be like politically correct.
Then no. You get no points with me.
You get nothing. Like they did Marvel in Captain Marvel.
Oh my God.
I digress.
Another disgusting thing about that movie. But Jeffrey Wright is an amazing actor.
He's a dope actor. So when Jay showed me that, I was like, they're changing his race, but it's a dope actor. I could be down with that.
Yeah, because like I said, right, no one, I mean, they cast, Snyder cast Fishburne as Perry White in Man of Steel, right? No one, no one thought that would be any good. I was like, whatever.
It's Perry White.
It's Perry White. But Fishburne was dope. He was dope as Perry White.
Killed it. So.
And again, Jeffrey Wright is a dope actor. Like he's amazing.
So anyway, Jonah Hill, saying that he's being talked to for a role. We're thinking the Penguin because he looks like he could be perfect for that role.
Word.
So, man, we're super excited. The rumor is that they're going to be doing The Long Halloween, which you talked about last week. Go check that out.
Sean, if Jonah Hill is cast as the Penguin, right, and he's young, and then Pattinson is also young. Right? So they're more like contemporaries.
Yeah, they're both, I think they're both right around the same age,
Yeah, there's a lot of growth potential for that.
Well, especially if you're doing a 3-movie arc of the Long Halloween story.
Word.
Which each issue, right, in the Long Halloween, it's 13 episodes.
I think it's 13 issues.
13 episodes. 13 issues. But each issue is self-contained within the larger story. Right. So if you're doing 3 movies, you could really flesh out Gotham and, with these different characters. And you don't even have to show like Poison Ivy or Catwoman that much, right? You can just kind of introduce them into this larger world and keep it focused on some of these other characters. So we're super excited.
Especially you keep it story driven, right? Instead of character driven. Like a lot of the other Batmans have been character driven movies.
Right.
Like you keep this one, the focus of this one on the story. Because it has so many moving parts. Yeah, it'll be dope.
And then you keep that the detective aspect with some action instead of action with some detective aspect.
Yeah.
I think we got a winner. Winner,
chicken dinner.
All right, so let's go ahead.
As long as it's pollo guisado.
Pollo guisado. I like pollo frito. So anyway, today's song, let's go with today's trailer and then we'll hit today's song. Today's trailer dropped. It's a Netflix original series. I was about to say Montel Jordan, but that's not his name.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. That's
because you're looking at the Montel Jordan CDs over there.
Is that what it is? Oh, it is.
I'm trying to give you an excuse, man. Just say yeah.
Yeah, sure. He's like an executive producer. The trailer's called Raising Dion. It looks interesting. The synopsis is.
That's because you don't have any coffee. You're drinking that Diet Mountain Dew over there. It's not doing anything for you.
Synoptai. A young boy struggling to control his newfound powers. A single mom fighting the odds to keep her son safe. Secrets, conspiracies, mysteries, all dangerously swarming around one family. Raising Dion launches October 4th. Only on Netflix. So next month, I'll check it out just because, I'll check it out. I just hope it's not like, what was that one show that we were kind of liking? The Ordinary Family?
One Ordinary Family.
Where like they
right when it got good.
Right as they had built it for them to like launch into being superheroes.
Right. They canceled it.
And that's my only concern with this show because it looks like it's going to be about that first half, which is fine. But
it's a series, right? So we'll see.
But I want to see superheroes.
Yeah, so do I.
Right.
The trailer looked good. For me, the trailer looked good.
Yeah, the trailer did look good. Like, even with the effects and everything.
Yeah, what was that superhero movie that Michael B. Jordan was in?
Chronicle.
Right.
Which
that
was
one was
super
dope.
And they never give us a sequel.
Right. Jerks.
So Raising Dion, check that out.
They should make that movie into a Netflix series.
And then,
if you're listening, Michael B. Jordan, I know you're not. But if you're listening, Michael B. Jordan, you should make Chronicle into a Netflix series.
If you're listening to us when we're talking about Kanye, then keep listening, because then we have this part for you.
And if you're listening to this episode, then you can buy us the flag.
You can buy us the flag. Come on, Creed. Anyway, the song of the week, dope little song. It's about heartbreak.
We've all suffered.
Which you've all suffered. Heartbreak. It's called. Okay, I never get this dude's name right. Byron Juane?
Yes.
All right. I said that goofing around. That was right?
Yeah.
Even when I'm dumb, I'm always correct. Byron Juane.
Yeah, you dumb smart.
Yes. I'm smart dumb. Byron Juane featuring Don. And this is where Ryvcko.
Yeah, there you go.
Don Ryvcko, who's very interesting. Got a very interesting backstory. Is he here in Atlanta?
No, he's not. But we can still get him on the phone, and we can.
Yeah, once we figure that out, because I would definitely want to talk about his.
All I gotta do is text him and ask him when he's available to get on the phone with us.
And when we're available to get a phone. But anyway, Byron Juane with featuring Don Ryvcko, and it's called Lonely. The song is called Lonely. It's got that Spanish, that reggaeton, hip hop, R&B. Yeah, it's a little mix of everything.
Kardec, super producer Kardec. He produced the track, and he, according to him, it's R&B reggaeton.
R&B reggaeton. That's awesome.
And I listened to it a couple times already, and yeah, it's dope.
So you ready for this? So there's 8 comments. There's 8 comments on this video. You ready?
Sure.
All right. So I want you to keep track of when I say this one. All right.
Okay.
This one. This one. This one. And this one. How many is that?
4.
4 out of the 8 are Spanish comments.
Nice.
Right? Now, 2 of the comments.
So are they este, y este?
Nah, man. Duro temazo, fuerza, bro, sigue así. No, then this one guy, he got fire, peace. But his name is Bruno Santos.
Dale.
So that's 5. And then you have Danny is okay. That one's I don't know, because it does no picture, nothing. So we don't know. Yeah, man. So
comment with words, people. Don't comment with emojis.
I can't read.
It's not a language.
I can't read emojis. That's how you know you're old. But yeah, check the song out. It's super, super dope. And we like it. It did it. All right. So I think was that it? I think that is it. Now on to kind of what we're going to talk about, because it's kind of very interesting. It's something that me and Jay have harped about before, I think.
Yeah.
In the past.
Word.
Go ahead.
And we're going to keep talking about it.
Take it up. All right, Pastor Jay. Go with it.
What we have learned applies to our lives today. And God has a lot to say in his book. You see, we know that God's word is for everyone.
Those are the sticks.
Our song is that will take You mean the clave?
The clave, that's what it was.
The tapa sound. All right, so we were supposed to talk about something today, and we had guests, but
they were not able to make it.
Right. So there's a lot going on, and the topic is heavy. It was and super heavy for them. So because of that, we thought we would take things in a lighter
direction.
And, we've been harping on a few things and some heavy stuff. So we're gonna take it. We're gonna do something a little.
Yeah.
Seemingly a little lighter.
Last 2 episodes, we were obsessed with Kanye, some would say. And there's still more we can say.
It's still hashtag pray for Kanye.
Hashtag pray.
Right?
Got to
pray just to make it today. Right? No, so we're going to talk about calling and plans, right? As a pastor or as a preacher, right? A lot of people ask me when I ask them what would you like me to pray about or pray for?
What God wants me to do in my life.
Right. Oh, I would really like to know clear
my calling,
what my calling is, or what God's plan for my life is.
For my life.
And
His plan if you get a job, son.
Get out of your mother's basement.
Hey-o.
No, but serio. I swear, because all this stuff and this rearranging about what we're going to talk about tonight happened today. So, right on point. I got an email from Relevant.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Relevant Magazine.
One of the few times Relevant Magazine has been relevant.
Word.
For us.
See, I would like Relevant more if they were brave enough to like publish my writings.
Hashtag fighting words. Hashtag fighting words. Relevant.
If you were brave enough to publish my writings and not reject me, right? Because maybe I'm too fundamentalist.
Ooh, yeah, man. How dare you?
Right, but
you're not relevant enough.
But what's the use of learning anything if you don't go through the fundamentals first?
Just go on with the topic. I'm done with you.
Anyway, so I saw this topic.
I'm not speaking anymore.
I saw this article said God has already revealed his plan for your life. Ooh. And it caught my attention. Of all the things, it caught my attention because like if you've heard Joaquin and I speak on these things or speak on this specifically, like we say something similar, just not as nice.
Right.
Maybe that's the real reason why Relevant won't publish my writings.
Right. You know what they say? A little bit of, need honey to catch flies?
Who the hell catches flies? Who wants to catch flies?
Someone with honey?
I'd rather use honey to catch Winnie the Pooh.
That's a dangerous game, my friend. Did you not see the video today of the two bears that were fighting in the middle of the street?
Nah. You didn't send that to me.
Once we get done, we'll look that up.
All right, word.
Go ahead.
Right? So this guy is saying that he went through a season where he kept asking God for clarification on his calling, God to clarify what God's plan for his life was, and that God was silent, and it kind of bothered him, right? And we've all been there. We've all been there, right? Like, he's like, God, what should I do? God, can you like give me a sign? Like,
yeah. Now what's funny is the conversation, right? It's like, God, what do you think? What do you think I should do? Silence. God, I really want to know your will. Can you tell me what it is?
Crickets.
God, will you give me clarity on what I should be doing?
Silence.
God, are you listening? Isn't that a book? God, are you even listening?
Yeah,
I can't hear you. Will you answer me?
Yo, God, son, yo.
Jesus,
are you there?
Where you at, Jesus?
Right. No. So he starts talking about that. Hold on, where is it?
God got locked up. Tekashi 6ix9ine snitched on him too.
Oh my God, he says right that he was reading. He went out to his favorite spot, some bench in a park by a river in Greenville.
Did he say a bench?
Yeah. It's that place in Greenville where I sent you the pictures of.
Right.
That park that's got the waterfalls and all that.
Right.
It's a real dope spot. And he was reading, and that he heard God say, you know what I want you to do? I want you to be obedient to what I've already commanded you. I've already given you a lot to do. I want you to have my attitude and mindset. I want your life to look like mine. And I'm not going to read anything else he says that he wrote because that's enough for...
I don't know. I think
that right there is enough for Joaquin and I to jump on.
Oh no!
Because
we're gonna share what we are gonna share the list.
Yeah, the list. We'll share the list. But it's so amazing to me how like so many people focus and they equate calling or God's will to platform. Right? So it's like
or to vocation.
Or vocation, right? So like. A lot of them feel that if they're not actively doing ministry as far as preaching,
quote unquote,
preaching, teaching, missions, whatever,
or calling what they're doing ministry,
right? That they're not doing God's will, right? Or they're not living out their quote unquote calling, which is something that we here at the Overflow Podcast have a problem with, right? So,
yes,
so it's a
we don't have a problem with God giving you a calling, and we don't have a problem with you preaching or what we do if you're bad at it.
If you're bad at it.
And or
and your
heretical.
Theology is horrible.
Or heretical, like my earlier theology about, the seat of $80 for the flag.
Unless it works.
Unless it works for you. But I think, you were saying that, and that's something that the church, right, that us as a church body, because I'm willing to bet, because I know I've fallen into this, I know you've fallen into it, where sometimes I think in our earlier days especially, we kind of confused the two also, and we would tell kids, oh, you need to pray, I'm about to go to college, what should I do? Oh, just pray for God to lead you, or pray for God's calling into what he wants you to do. And
my thing was feeling that if I wasn't preaching every week,
right,
then I was failing.
Right.
I was failing in my calling and taking care of the calling that God has placed over my life.
Right, because somebody, and a lot of times it's because somebody says, right, oh, man, your son, he's got a calling to be a preacher.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
Right, and so then you feed, you eat that up.
But it's like that Spanish church. Ay, tienes que cuidar del don que Dios te ha dado. Tienes que cuidar del llamamiento que Dios ha puesto en tu vida. That whole pray without ceasing, like literal pray without ceasing.
Right.
Like don't eat, don't sleep, don't do nothing. Get on your knees and pray all day and night.
Yeah, and I think we get so caught up. We've turned calling into vocation.
Right.
Right. And we think that if we're not doing what God quote unquote called us to do, we're not somehow fulfilling his will. But one thing we do forget, this is popping in my head, one thing we do forget is that, most pastors are not full-time pastors. They're bivocational pastors. They work a regular job, and then on Wednesday nights, if growing up, right, on Wednesday night, they go to church and they have their Bible studies on Wednesday night. Then on Mondays, they got to go and do the visitations. They go to do visitations. And then on Friday, maybe Thursday or Saturday, they go and visit.
But it's also sick. Like this newer thing, right? The pastors of this age are more rock stars. Are seen more as rock stars, right?
Right.
So
the handful of them.
The handful, right? There's a lot of traveling, a lot of preaching on large stages, and
right. I mean, look at like Jensen Franklin, right? He preaches. I don't know if he still does, but I know at one point, right, he would preach here in Gainesville.
And he'd fly to California.
And then he'd fly to California to go preach in California. Now,
and then come back. I don't think he still does that.
And so for us, right, let's say me and Jay, right, we look at that and we're like, whoa, like man, that's tiring, right?
Yeah.
First thing
that pops in my head is like, wow, that must be exhausting.
But then the second thing that pops in your head is like, yo, how cool would it be to be able to do that?
Word.
Right? To be able to be like, oh man, this week I'm flying here and this week I'm flying there. And I'll be honest with you, like on a personal, like, yo, I can't be in a hater kind of note. Look, sometimes I see the, like some of these kids we know, and I see some of these things. I'm like, man, how dope would it be, to be able to travel and to do these and to do some of these. Obviously, I'm not like to travel and be a rapper because I'm past that.
Traveling so much.
But just to be traveling, well, for me, because I don't have family to be like, oh, I gotta be home with the kids.
Oh, it's just exhausting.
Of course, some people might be like, well, that's why I want to travel because I got the kids at home.
Not me.
But the idea that that's a, that's a flesh wise. It's a very attractive thing, right? Because I mean, we know of pastors and we know of musicians and we know people that they'll travel Monday through Thursday and then they come home and on Friday, Saturday, Sunday they're doing their home church stuff or they're doing their home family stuff and then they're back on the road, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
So so we see that, and that has been kind of what has been hoisted upon us as, well, this is how you know you're doing God's calling.
Right. This is how you know that God has blessed you, right? And that God is backing up the calling that he put in your life because you're busy. But, on the dark side of that, a lot of marriages fail. Because and it's not just the husband, or it's not just the husband, because there are a lot of women that do a lot of traveling as well, right? And, they abandon the family for like 5 or 6 days a week.
Right, for ministry, and they don't take care when they come home to keep that flame and that nurture that relationship when they are together.
Right. Or nurture the relationship with their kids.
With their kids, yeah, because it's not always about that old misnomer. It's not about I mean, there is some truth. It's not about quantity. It's about quality, and I think that sometimes we forget. I mean, sometimes it is just about quantity, right?
Yeah, it is.
But quality is very important. The problem is that people that tend to say that kind of thing aren't really having quality time.
It's also ready. It's also the quality in the quantity.
Yes.
Right, because it's like, why does it have to be either or? Right, be wise with what you're doing with the time that you have. Right, but anyway, the deal with this is that it's like you're already living out your calling is because, since the minute you accepted Christ,
accept creases. I was going to say Christ and Jesus.
From the minute you believe, you have received the spirit of power, right?
Yes.
So, your every waking moment is called, right, to live a life for Christ, right? Everything that you do and everything that you do it for His glory, right? Do it for the glory of God. So it's funny to me because I remember one time when I was a youth pastor, somebody told me, oh well, I'm not in, I'm not in ministry. Like, the pastor's kid, the pastor's son told me, well, my dad's a pastor, but I'm not a pastor, so I don't need to do ministry. I don't know anything. I'm like, yeah, well, according to, living a life that glorifies God, so that everyone that you come in contact with can see God in you, and then the Great Commission, that puts us all in ministry, right? That is something that we are all called to do, right? We share our story. You don't have to preach a sermon. You don't have to pastor a church like your dad, but you share your story. You share how good God is, what He's done, and you make sure that the life that you live reflects Christ, that your words, your actions, everything that you do, that you touch, that you say, reflects Christ. Right. And that, if you don't feel that you have one of the 5 ministries, then at least that is what we're all called for.
And that's good, because we're not all, I mean, the Bible, right? The Bible warns us, right? It's like, look, if you want to be a teacher, understand that there's like a certain responsibility with being a teacher.
Yeah.
Right? There's a heaviness to it, right?
Yeah.
There's a, what's the word? An accountability to it. And there's an accountability to these 5-fold ministries, right? That people that we've kind of either have put on pedestals, or we've almost bastardized them, because we've added things to them.
Yo, you said bastardize them.
Is that wrong?
Nah, son. Yo.
Because we like to add stuff to them, right? One of the ones that me and Jay, especially over the last several years, kind of make us roll our eyes, cringe, and it's probably and we're probably not right about the way we react to it sometimes, but like this whole like music ministry, right? Oh, God called me to music ministry, and it's like, well,
somebody told me that God called them to be a rapper.
I mean, whatever, right?
All I did was laugh. I just laughed and was like, okay.
You should have been like, well, God should have called you to be a writer because your bars are whack.
What?
But
I mean, do you know him? Because you're not wrong. Anyway, go ahead.
No, but we've added stuff to it. So we're like,
no. We also added, like, what bothers me and what really like makes me cringe is the fact that we added this sense of glamour to being a pastor. Right. And being a pastor, I'm sorry, like when people tell me, oh yeah, I really feel called to be a pastor, so you better make sure you right. You pray about that, because I don't know one pastor, because I don't know none of these, like,
so it's almost like
I don't know any of these like famous pastors, but I don't know one pastor that's really putting in the work that is like, super happy and is not burdened. And it's not.
Well, they might be joyful.
No, I'm saying they might be joyful, but I'm saying like
there is joy in the Lord, Jay.
There's joy in the Lord, but there's a burden in being a shepherd.
There's a burden in being. Right? It's like was it Francis Schaeffer, I believe? They said that when he would pray, he would just weep and weep and weep for the lost.
Right.
Like that kind of burden.
Bro, since the kid committed suicide 2 weeks ago, like, my phone has been blowing up. Magda's phone has been blowing up. People have been coming to the house.
Right.
Like we've been crying. I mean, we've never met this kid, but the kids that we know that were impacted by him.
Yeah, you're crying. You're crying with them. Right? You're weeping.
Crying.
You're weeping with the. What is it? You're crying with the weepers.
We mourn with those who mourn.
Mourn with those who mourn. That's what crying with the weepers.
Crying with these kids, praying for these kids, right? Just listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just listening and letting them speak and talk and praying over them, right? There's a burden that comes with this.
There should be, right? And so, I think, from now on, if anybody ever, we're warning you, if you come up to us and say, hey, God's calling me to be a pastor, my question's going to be, like who?
Ooh, word.
Right? Think about like who. And if you say, like Furtick or like Lentz or Wilkins, was it Wilkerson Jr. or any of those guys, I'm going to be like, yeah, that's not God calling you. That's your flesh. That's your flesh. That's you calling you. Right? And I know that's harsh, and somebody might say, oh, Joaquin, but you know that's what God. No, you know what? As you know here at the Overflow Podcast, I will step out on that limb.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Because, when I remember when I struggled with calling into ministry, I wasn't thinking, oh, like this famous, like Billy Graham. Oh, God's calling me like Billy Graham. I was like, oh, geez, God's calling me like my pastor, like the one that I talk to every week, right?
Yeah.
The one that knows me. I wasn't like, oh, I want to be like this big guy, like this Vodi Bakum, or, who at that time for me was a big time, kind of well-known pastor, right, in my Baptist circles. The dude could preach. But it's like, nowadays, we look at it as, oh, God's calling us to be like, and then just pick the famous guy.
Like I remember for me, it was always Padro, of course, because that was my pastor growing up my whole life. And then Sammy Rodriguez Jr. Like when he came and he preached at my church, and I think I was 15 and he was 20, I think.
Right.
Or maybe I was like 16 and he was 20, right? Yo, I was like, yeah.
So yeah,
that's the joint right there.
Yeah. So this
was before he became famous. That was praying for presidents and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say insert joke here. Ha 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 ha. We'll keep it moving. Here's I think it's maybe kind of bringing it back around. Here's kind of what we're saying. It's like forget going what God's called me to, X, Y, Z, and think of it more as God's called me now, X, Y, Z. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One of the things I've always said, and I've told people, and I've said this in Bible studies, I've said this when I've been asked to speak and whatever. It's, when people say, well, what do I do? It's like, well, you know what to do. What do I do to get closer to God? What do I do to hear God's voice, right? And when people ask this in group settings, and I listen to all the different responses, and not that they're wrong, but I think I think it's real simple. I think it's real simpler than and I'll say this, like, not what they said is wrong. I think it's simpler than that. And it's read the word, pray the word, do the word. Right? I've said that before. Read, pray, do. Read, pray, do. And in reading the word, God has already laid out what he wants for us to do. And it's not to go speak in front of thousands. It's not to I remember I saw somebody talk about how they prayed for a platform. I prayed for a platform. But guess what? When you're praying for a platform, you're forgetting where you're at.
Say it again.
Right? When you're praying for a platform, you're forgetting where you're at.
Word.
And guess what? Your platform is where you're at.
Word.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Your platform is where you're at. We tend to forget that our buddy Angel, we used to when we would talk, and he was always talk about how he wants to write lyrics that are going to minister to people, right? When they hear his songs, when he was performing, right? When he was rapping. And I remember I used to tell him, I was like, yo, that's great, but what you say on stage is irrelevant if what you do when you're amongst the people isn't what's honoring God. Right? When you're honoring God amongst the people, that's where you're at. That's your calling. That's all of our callings, right? It was first to where? First to Judea, then Samaria, then the rest of the world. But what do we want to do? We want to go to the rest of the world, and we want to forget about Judea, where we live, and then we're wondering why where we live. Then when we come home to where we live, this is what we say. You know what? I don't like going to church out here. I don't like none of these churches.
Yo,
they're all whack. Now I'm getting worked up.
I mean, sometimes they are. Yo,
sometimes they are.
Scripture says.
But I'd say 90% of the time it's you.
Scripture says, right, that the harvest is plenty, but the labor is few, right? Harvest is plenty, but the labor is few, and that shows you the disparity between, the calling and the work, right? So the laborers are few because there are only a few people that aren't worried about, my calling, my platform, my this, my that, right?
They're not worried about sitting at Jesus' right hand.
Right, exactly, right? They're worried about going out and just preaching the gospel, right? Going out and being examples, going out and being salt and light, right? And I remember Waskar told me one time that he was talking to somebody who was like telling him, I love the way you preach. If I could only be a pastor like you, and if I could only, preach the word like you, where did you go to school? Like Waskar, no schooling, as far as Bible school, like Bible college, whatever, right? He took a few classes, right? But, like no mass div, none of that, right? But reading the word every day, praying every day, like really seeking it, like on his face, seeking the presence of God, right? So he told this kid, I remember he told this kid, I was like, hey, I would love for you to pray, to preach better than me, be a pastor better than me, but you have to answer one question honestly, right? And I'm like, because Waskar's like, he's one of us, like he's a clown sometimes, but he was like dead serious. Like he looked at this kid, and you need to answer one question honestly, and the kid was like, what? Do you have a burden to see the lost found? Right? Do you have a burden to see lost people get saved and come to Jesus? Because you can't be a preacher or a pastor like me, better or worse,
right?
If there's not a true burden in your heart to see lost people be found, lost people find Christ, right? If you just want to be up here and wear fancy suits and say nice words so that people can love you, then you're not called to be a preacher or a pastor.
No, you're
called to be like a singer or something.
You're not called to be anything. Like not even that, because you might not be able to sing. Right? You're not called to be anything. God's not calling you if you're looking at wealth. If you're looking at what you can get. If you're looking at prestige, right? Oh man, I could do so much for God if I had this platform. But you know what? What are you doing where you at, son?
Right. Where you at? Yeah, you're right. Where you are, that's where that's your platform, right? Be fruitful, right? Be fruitful and multiply, right?
First,
be fruitful where you are, right? Everything starts at home. Be fruitful where you are, and then allow God to take you from glory to glory, rather than you just trying to step out and seeking the glory.
Right. Which reminds me, and I've told this story before. I remember watching a video with Ryvcko Warren talking about tithing.
Right. Yeah.
And giving money. And,
I remember that.
And so but this fits, right? Because it's the same principle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Ryvcko Warren says, a lot of you was in this conference. He goes, a lot of you guys are out here praying for God to give you more. Right? Give me more blessing money wise, Lord, because then I'll take that money and I'll use it to bless you. He goes, but yet you're stingy with what he is giving you. You're not tithing the 10 that he's asked you to tithe. You're not even diligent with what he's giving you. Kind of like, remember, like in the parables, right? The guys that were given the money.
The talents.
Right? The talents, right? The one guy buried it. That's what you are. You're just burying it. You're holding on to it. And he goes, why would God bless you with more if you can't even take care of what you got now? And then he gives his story. He goes, him and his wife, when they first started, they were like, we're going to tithe 10%. And every year, they're like, we're going to increase our tithe. And if it was a good year financially, that they might increase the tithe, let's say, 15%, right? So from 10%, then they might go up 5%. So the next year they're doing 15%. But then guess what? The next year was a lean year. So they might only go up 1%.
Yeah.
Right? But the point is that every year they were being more and more faithful, whether it was a little or a lot, on how God blessed them how monetarily they were blessed that year. So guess what? He ends up writing this book, Purpose Driven Life, and then he wrote A Purpose-Driven Church. And God ends up blessing him to the point where, what was he able to do? He was able to then pay back his church the salary that they'd paid him all those years. And it was around, I'm going to round it up, around $300,000. He paid him back. He says, here's that money that you paid me.
Yeah.
By the time that book became a runaway hit, they got up to 90%. They were tithing 90% of their earnings.
Yeah, right? I wasn't sure if it was 90 or like 98, but I knew it was 90.
It was 90, and it might have got up to 98. But I remember 90. It's easier for me to remember in tens. They were right. So then he was like, so we live on. I feel that. So we live on 10%. We live on 10%. Now, of course, I remember when I shared that story one time. Somebody said, "Well, of course, he sold millions and millions." I'm like, right. So think about that. If you got $10 million, you're to you being generous and being faithful would be to give $1 million. He gets $10 million, and he's giving $90 million.
Yep. Right.
And he lives in California, so that $1 million is like $60,000 a year.
$10 million, he gives $90 million.
All right, $9 million. Yeah, like I said, math is not my strong suit. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I
right.
Yeah,
that's the point. You want God to bless your life in ministry, and you say, I want to do ministry. I want to follow God's calling. Follow it here. Follow it where you're at, so here's a few ways you can do that, and this is
boom.
And this is what the guy wrote in his entry. He goes, imitate him. Think about what is pure, holy, and right. Be joyful. That was a tough one, right? Pray continually. Give thanks in all circumstances. Let the word of Christ dwell in me. Be kind to the poor. Focus my heart on heavenly things. That one can get you.
Yeah.
Be kind and compassionate.
So get this one.
Be devoted in prayer. This one's even, live above reproach.
And this one right here is the one for the people who want to do a lot.
And then make the most of every opportunity. And every opportunity means, hey, we're going to a soup kitchen. You want to come? Yes. Hey, oh, you DJ? You're a Christian DJ? Because I used to be a Christian DJ and I sucked at it. But it was like, hey, you're a Christian DJ? We're doing a small little block party. Do you mind DJing? Right? Do you mind doing it?
Right. And you say that, and that's one of the things that I admire of like DJ 412.
Right.
Right. And Michael, that although they have these bigger platforms and they travel and they do all these things, if someone were to come to them and say, hey, we can't pay you, but can you like help DJ this block party we're doing, just to they don't say no, right? If it's not a date that they're already like booked
up, right?
Yeah, they don't say no. They don't say no. Like when we asked 412 about doing the party to raise money for missions, right? He was like, yeah, just give me a day, give me a day and a time, and I'm there, right? It's like, it was not like, hey, we got money for you to do this. Like, I need your help.
Right.
I need you to DJ a party for to raise money for missions.
So and that's the thing, when you're willing to do it for free.
When you have the heart, when the heart is for ministry.
When you have the heart and you're willing, and I'll say again, you're willing to do it for free. Right? I think then you, it's like this principle. This is the principle I think of it is.
Got it.
You need a job. Right? I have a sister who was without a job for a while. And I told her, I said, go to apply Chick-fil-A. And she's like, no. Because I was making $10 an hour. I'm not going to go back to making $7 an hour.
Wow.
I'm like, but you need a job.
Word.
Right? But guess what? So eventually she got a job, whatever. Guess what? This time around, she needed it. She got fired. She applied for a job that she wanted. And she got it at a research university. The week later, an even better job she got offered. Now she's doing that job and she loves it. And she gets to travel and all that stuff. Why? Because you're willing to do. You have to be willing to do. I think a lot of times that's where we miss it, right? God just wants us to be willing, and not just to be willing, but to put feet to that willingness.
You went to your sister. I'm right here, son.
Jay,
I'm right here.
Oh, I forgot about you.
I'm right here.
I was my sister.
I was scrubbing toilets.
That's right.
Right, 2 degrees. I'm scrubbing toilets.
Yeah.
I'm a security guard.
Toilets that I pooped in.
Right? I'm a security guard at the consulate. And now, boom, back. Art director
and half of the Overflow podcast. This one,
which is where the real prestige is.
Yeah, this one you really have to humble yourself. So that's the idea. That's the thing, right? Be willing to do here in Samaria. And look for your opportunities in Samaria.
Right. And realize
so that God can then you can say, you know what, I'm doing God's will regardless.
And realize that the calling is to live a life that exemplifies Christ, right? At all times. That's what we're called to do. Right? Whatever is born from that, whatever God breathes into that and takes you, then he'll take you. But it starts at the beginning. And the beginning is we are all called to live a life that exemplifies Christ.
That's it. Hey guys, don't forget the 30th. The Ice Kitchen, Uzuhan. Peace. I'm Joaquin.
And I'm still Jay.
And we out.
Thanks for listening. Remember to go to theoverflowpodcast.com to subscribe to the podcast on all streaming platforms and catch up on all the links of the week. And don't forget to follow our playlist on Spotify.